Do you ever feel overwhelmed by the ever-changing world of technology? Tech It Out can help make some sense of it all. Breaking down geek speak into street speak, technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman covers consumer technology each week for every listener. Mark tackles the latest news, reviews, and how-tos to help you understand what's hot, what's not, and why.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Tech It Out, episode 147. Hope you all had a good week, maybe slowly going back to the way things were, sort of, depending on where you are in the country, of course, and what your profession is and such. Regardless, I trust you're doing well and staying healthy out there as we're into this third month of this thing. And thank you for tuning into Tech It Out, whether you're listening to the program on your local radio station, supporting the local guys, or maybe you download it or stream this as a podcast. Thrilled to have you along. We're going to explore a few cool tech angles to COVID-19, in fact, including online education with a company called RemoteHQ and what makes their platform different. We're going to talk with Ancestry about unlocking your family history and reaching out to perhaps long-lost relatives during these challenging times. We're going to chat security with a MasterCard company called NuData Security. And IBM will join us to chat about celebrating women in AI, artificial intelligence. All of this and more on this week's brand new Tech It Out radio show, powered by ASUS, which I'll tell you more about shortly. But let's kick off this show. One of the most fun things that I did a couple of years ago was one of those DNA kits to find out where my ancestors were from. And it's, of course, based on science, not hearsay. And then I started hearing from and interacting with relatives that I never knew I had. Specifically, I ordered the AncestryDNA kit about 4 years ago, and I still get updates as it gets more accurate over time and as more people do the fun test. Especially during these challenging times, there's something meaningful about unlocking your ancestry. And now there's a free tool offered by Ancestry to take advantage of as well. Joining us on the line to chat is a guest I've had on a few times before, family historian Leslie Anderson. Welcome back to the show, Leslie. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Yeah, good. Despite this craziness. Now, look, before we talk about this free search tool offered by Ancestry, please tell us what Ancestry, the company, and their services are all about.
Well, Ancestry's main products include that consumer DNA test called AncestryDNA, and also family history subscriptions that gives people access to Ancestry's extensive online collection of historical records and family trees so that you can really get a well-rounded view and lots of tools available for you to do your family tree online.
All right. So for the AncestryDNA kit, which is something I'm a little bit more intimate with than the other service, tell us what is involved in that process. A lot of my friends are really curious and they ask me about it. This is a kit that you order to your door, correct?
Yes, you can order it online and go to the DNA page. And basically, you've done it, and it's a simple saliva test that you can do in the comfort of your own home. Once you order it, you're going to receive the AncestryDNA kit in the mail in just a matter of days. And after you spit in the tube, it's a small quarter of a teaspoon of your saliva, and you returned your sample in the mail. Your DNA is processed at our labs, and then you're going to receive an email, or you can actually follow its progress through the same DNA page on Ancestry, and you'll see within about 6 to 8 weeks, we're going to notify you that your results are ready, and you can explore them on the AncestryDNA website.
And tell us, please, what you can find out specifically. I loosely, hinted at it in the introduction, but because it's radio, also tell us visually what you can see on the app or the website once you log in with your password and everything.
Right, where you're going to see 3 separate sections of your DNA results. And the first section on the left would be your ethnicity results. And that is overall, where are your people from? Based on the analysis that we do and the reference groups that we use, we can tell what countries your DNA is indicating that your family history came from quite, hundreds of years back, even up to 1,000 years back. And so that's really interesting because you really get to know history a little bit, and some of it will confirm what you know, and also you will be able to explore it in context, in that historical context. The second part of the DNA test that you see is really what excites all of us as historians and doing our genealogy and family tree, because it is the actual connections that you're making with living descendants who share a common ancestor with you. So those are living people that, depending on who's done the test I think we have over 15 million people in our DNA network who have done the test, and we compare your test to their test, and it's totally irregardless of whether they have a tree or online. It's totally science, as you said. And this will connect you whether or not you're a third cousin twice removed, or it goes back about 300 years on both male and female sides. So you don't have to be a male to get the results for your paternal side, or a female, etc. It's going to give you both sides of your family going back 300 years. So it's really a great tool to confirm the research that you've done, or the rumors that the history that but also connect with those people because they might have the pictures of the family or a side of the family story that you can collaborate with them and find out more about your family for your family tree. And then the third section is a new way to sort of make sense of those family trees and the people who you are matching, and perhaps helping flesh out their trees and your trees in determining how you're related. So it's really a powerful tool, and one that is based, as I said, on an ancestor that has passed down their DNA to you and your matches.
Mm-hmm. Now, look, I understand the ability to match DNA on a scientific level with a relative who shares much of that same DNA. But how do you know, when I look at the map going back a few hundred years, that, like, for example, my family is from Eastern Europe, mostly Poland. How do you know that part? Is that based on the data that's been collected over the last few years?
Yeah, that's based on, as I mentioned, the reference groups that we have, we compare your DNA to, first off, people who are reference sampled groups that have deep roots in those areas. But also, now that we have, the biggest DNA database in the world, we can compare it to the user's DNA, and then we look at family trees as well to give you even a deeper look into the DNA, or a more recent look, I would say, is where are your people coming from. And so we can put you in communities that can identify, maybe you're Irish, you heard you were Irish, but if your DNA is matching a group of people, that trees are pointing to certain areas in Ireland, we can get down to even the county level. And so we can put you in these communities now based on science and also people's understanding of their recent trees.
Okay, got it. Thanks for the clarification, Leslie. We are chatting with Leslie Anderson. She's a family historian and spokesperson for Ancestry. Now, does this AncestryDNA kit still work now during the COVID-19 pandemic? Because I don't know if it's considered an essential service or if the technicians are practicing social distancing with each other. Are they still able to analyze the contents of the saliva in that tube that we're providing?
Oh, yes, definitely. We obviously live in uncertain times right now, and Ancestry remains fully committed. We've made a number of operational changes to ensure our employees and their families remain safe. And also the process is very, you receive your kit in a box and you return your kit. The thing I can't answer is because of the, just the mail delivery system that we use. It's just, there might be some delays. So we ask for your patience in that regard, but haven't heard of many delays in my experience. So yes, we are definitely working.
Leslie Anderson, thank you so much for your time. Stay healthy. Nice to chat with you.
Thank you very much, Mark.
By the way, the current cost of an AncestryDNA test is $99 plus shipping costs and any applicable taxes. The AncestryDNA testing cost includes a DNA test kit and the lab processing fee. The DNA test kit contains a saliva collection tube, as we talked about, full instructions, and a prepaid return mailer, so there's no additional cost for AncestryDNA testing. You can go to Ancestry.com to learn more about the AncestryDNA kit, which costs $99. When we return on Tech It Out, we're going to talk with a company called RemoteHQ that has a unique online platform for education. It could be used for other things as well, like business, but it has some unique features that platforms like Zoom don't have. So we're going to catch up with RemoteHQ, followed by an interview with IBM to talk about women in AI, artificial intelligence. And then after that, MasterCard, a company called NuData Security, owned by MasterCard, will talk with us about protecting your devices in 2020 and beyond. This program, Tech It Out, is brought to you by ASUS, creating technology for today and tomorrow's smart life. ASUS, for those in search of incredible. Visit asus.com/US/radio for more info on their award-winning laptops, desktops, monitors, smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and much more. Again, that website is asus.com/US/radio. You're listening to the Radio America Network. I'm your host, Mark Saltzman. This is Tech It Out. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Listen to Tech It Out whenever you want. Find the Tech It Out podcast at iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to Tech It Out. As many schools remain closed, online or distance learning has become the new norm, at least for the foreseeable future. And so joining us on the line to chat about the importance of interactive schooling from home, we're going to learn about a tool called RemoteHQ with its CEO, Wai-Kit Lau. Welcome to the show, Wai-Kit.
Glad to be here.
Why don't we jump right in? What is RemoteHQ all about?
So RemoteHQ is a communications and collaboration platform. In a nutshell, we allow people to not just audio and video chat within our platform, but we also allow them to work together beyond what would be a traditional screen sharing functionality. So screen share is a one-way collaboration, if you will. If I'm screen sharing something to you, you can only see, but you can't touch it. So what we're doing is that we're solving that. We allow people to interact with whatever you are sharing. So it's interactive screen share, if you will.
Oh, got it. Yeah. So for a platform like Zoom, which could be used for schooling and for work and even socializing, I could enable screen share where I can show the people I'm video chatting with what is going on my computer, such as a presentation or a video or something. But you're right. They can't do much with that. They can just watch. So RemoteHQ takes it one step further and allows everyone to be able to interact with that content. So can you give us a sample with schooling in mind? What could you do? Could you have like a whiteboard, if you will, and then draw on it, and then the other students can all write on it?
Yep, absolutely. So we actually have our own whiteboard application that you can add into your RemoteHQ room. And in our whiteboard application, anyone and everyone in that RemoteHQ room can write on it, can comment on it, can do all the things that you would be able to do as if you're in a physical space. Now, for the shared browser, which is the interactive screen share, the shared browser app is the application that allows you to do interactive screen share. For that, the use cases extend beyond, obviously, whiteboarding. I'll give you an example. People have used this to teach programming, right? So if you're teaching someone programming, you have an environment in the cloud, for example, you are going through programming exercises. And this shared browser allows the teacher to come in and give guidance, give hints, or correct mistakes in the student's programming.
Okay, I get that. That's pretty cool. So does it work with a specific browser that you need, or is this something integrated already in RemoteHQ, like the software itself?
It's already integrated into RemoteHQ. First of all, unlike a lot of other collaboration software, RemoteHQ does not require any software download or installation. The entire RemoteHQ platform is browser-based. All you need to do is just go to www.remotehq.com. You sign in, you create a room. That's it. You're up and running in 5 to 10 seconds.
Are you seeing school boards adopt RemoteHQ?
We are. We've been seeing schools all the way from the lower grades all the way up to college level using us originally to supplement. But now, obviously, there have been schools that have been using us as sort of the primary vehicle to teach.
Okay. So remotehq.com is how to get going. It's a single tab browser, so there's no download. It's easy to get going. Is there a cost associated with it?
We used to.
You have special COVID-19 pricing now.
That's exactly right. When early March and the COVID-19 stay-at-home orders start happening, we decided to give the entire platform away for free. And we just extended the free period as well. So now the entire platform is free to use until August 1st. Post August 1st, we charge a nominal fee at $15 per host per month.
Okay, so not per user, but per host, so like a teacher, correct, presumably.
That's exactly right.
And just before we wrap up, Wykit, this can be used for businesses, of course. Does it have any security built in? Because I know that's always top of mind.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, when we started building this, security is top of mind. One of the reasons we built this as a browser-based app versus an app that you have to install is, as we have all seen with Zoom, when you install an app onto your computer, sometimes you're giving that app permissions to do things they're not supposed to do on your computer, right? So when we build it as a browser-based application, the membrane or the security abstraction between the browser and your operating system is very strong. So we cannot do anything that we're not supposed to do, right? So that's number one. Number two, you can lock the room. Right. So if you create a RemoteHQ room, you can lock the room, and only people you have invited to the room have access to it.
Yeah, I would assume that would be default setting, table stakes, if you will. But it's good to see that there's some extra layers of security woven in, because I know a lot of small businesses won't even look at it if it doesn't have a certain threshold, a certain minimum of security settings. And certainly we can learn from the mistakes that Zoom experienced over COVID-19. All right. Thanks so much, Wykit. Wykit Lau is the CEO of RemoteHQ. That website, again, is simply remotehq.com. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Good luck with this.
Thank you, Mark, and be well.
When we return on Tech It Out, we're going to catch up with IBM to talk about women in AI. Hey, if you have any feedback for me on what you like or don't like with Tech It Out, or if you have suggestions for upcoming guests or topics you'd like me to tackle, feel free to reach out to me privately or publicly. If you prefer email, my address is tech@marksaltzman.com. That's TECH@MARCSALTZMAN.com. On social media, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or YouTube. We'll be right back with more Tech It Out.
Want to follow Mark? Google him. Mark with a C and Saltzman with a Z. Breaking down geek speak into street speak. This is Tech It Out. Tech It Out with technology columnist, author, and TV personality Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. Careers in technology used to be a boys-only club, but thankfully it's changing. Diversity, including gender diversity, is super important for a variety of reasons. And so I wanted to invite back onto the show IBM, as the company has announced its annual list of women leaders in AI, which recognizes and celebrates women for leading change and driving innovation through the use of artificial intelligence. And that includes careers in customer service, advertising, retail, and others. We're joined on the line by Rithika Gunnar. She's the Vice President of Data and AI Expert Services and Learning at IBM. Welcome, Rithika. Pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Let's just start from the top. Please tell us more about this Women Leaders in AI list. How were the honorees chosen?
In a continued effort to push for gender equality in AI, IBM is showcasing over 35 women leaders in AI across a variety of industries in over 14 countries around the world who are using AI to drive transformation, growth, and innovation across their companies. These leaders were chosen because of their own work and their company's work to demonstrate the power of AI to be able to improve business and work for their customers and their employees. This program not only celebrates honorees' accomplishments, but it also creates a peer network for them to learn from each other, discover approaches for applying AI to solve pressing business challenges, and it provides a way to be able to show others, like our younger generation, how women can actually build careers in artificial intelligence like many of these women.
And we're going to talk in a moment, Rithika, about how AI is changing people's lives specifically. But to continue on with this thread, can you share some of the initiatives that these women have led?
Sure. Each of the honorees is leading at least one project of AI in their business that's delivering powerful results. Let me give you a couple of examples. Siemens created an AI-based human resource virtual assistant called Carl. And this serves as a 24/7 contact for the company's over 380,000 employees. It's available in many languages and covers over 200 plus topics, ultimately being able to answer employees' questions on demand and improving customer satisfaction and decreasing repetitive tasks by other human workers. Carl is supported by IBM Watson Assistant and Watson Discovery. Another example is Japan Airlines, where they built an assistant called Makana-chan, built on Watson Assistant on the IBM Cloud. It actually creates personalized travel experiences for customers traveling to key markets. Makana-chan functions not only as a virtual agent to converse with customers, but also uses a lot of the APIs that we have to be able to stimulate demand for travel.
Very cool. You know, I know some of my colleagues and even my friends who aren't in the tech space say, you know, I'm concerned about AI because it's going to replace human jobs. But I remember I believe it was the head of IBM's Watson department a couple of years ago, she had said that for every job that technology or automation replaces, it creates on average 4 to 5 new jobs, net new jobs. They're just different jobs. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. I think it's not about replacing jobs. It's about being able to have higher value jobs for people. So they're not working the mundane, repetitive, automated tasks. If you look at it, when we think about artificial intelligence, it's used for being able to predict, to better optimize, and to automate. And those kind of things only improve productivity, allowing workers to be able to still have many different types of higher value skilled roles.
Great point. Thank you, Rithika. We're chatting about the Women Leaders in AI list announced. Why do you think this kind of recognition is important?
Yeah, you mentioned the statistic that only an estimated 26% of AI professionals globally are female. And while you mentioned this is progress, it's not yet where we need it to be. So programs like this really shed a light on women and their work. And, you know, when you look at historically some of the studies that have been done, while women and men working in AI are equally interested in mathematics, and sciences, men are more likely to be told that they have a natural talent for math and sciences growing up, whereas women are more likely to be told that they have a natural talent for humanities, social sciences, and fine arts. So programs like this really focus on women in their work in the hopes that we not only inspire and energize organizations to adopt AI and make a true difference in their organizations, but also inspire that younger generation that they absolutely can have careers in math and sciences and technologies like artificial intelligence. And these women play an important role in being role models for our younger generation.
Great point. 26%. It's not a lot. And there probably is pay disparity as well. So we have our work cut out for us, but I think trending in the right direction. And it's great to be inspired. We're chatting about women leaders in AI with IBM's Rithika Gunnar. She leads a team of over 1,000 people within IBM's AI and data division that enables the company's clients to adopt, deploy, and be successful with artificial intelligence. And let's now talk a bit more about artificial intelligence. I know it's such a broad term, but can you give us a look into how AI is changing people's lives on a daily basis?
Look, AI is ubiquitous all around us, whether it's booking an airline ticket over the phone using a voice-activated virtual assistant to asking AI customer service agents for help with your bank accounts or to purchase something. Even in this outbreak that we have, COVID-19 is creating an overwhelming uncertainty and also a greater demand for AI. Let me give you a couple of examples. Governments, hospitals, businesses, they're all being inundated with requests for information from their constituents. At the same time, these organizations are receiving constantly changing information and mandates on how to deal with the situation. AI makes it possible to keep up with the change of information and the increased demand of questions that are coming from this uncertainty. As an example, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta is using Watson to walk parents through healthcare options. AI has a really important role to play in decision-making for businesses when they're faced with these unpredictable, constantly changing times, and COVID-19 is just an example of that.
I interviewed a couple of people from IBM, including Toby Capello, VP of Industry Architecture and Client Success within IBM's data and AI business, about Watson Assistant for Citizens, helping people around the world during this COVID-19 pandemic. That's great stuff.
Absolutely. And Toby's team is doing fantastic things with many of these organizations in this time.
All right, Rithika, this is great information. Rithika Gunnar has been our guest, VP of Data and AI Expert Services and Learning at IBM. Is there a place you can recommend for our listeners to learn more about the Women Leaders in AI list?
You can go to IBM.com to take a look at the 35 women leaders who are in AI and which we announced, as well as the technology that they have actually been using for many of the projects that we talked about.
All right, Rithika, thank you so much for your time. Stay healthy.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure to be here.
We'll be right back with more Tech It Out. Stay with us.
Breaking down geek speak into street speak. Tech It Out, hosted by Mark Saltzman.
Welcome back to Tech It Out, everyone. This show is powered by ASUS. ASUS creates technology for today and tomorrow's smart life, including its line of award-winning laptops, desktops, monitors, smartphones, tablets, smartwatches, and more. And that includes their ROG, or Republic of Gamers line of gaming gear as well, for those serious computer gamers out there, and esports players too. That's asus.com/US/radio for more info. That's asus.com/US/radio. And speaking of computers, we're even seeing scams tied to the coronavirus out there that try to exploit our fears tied to the pandemic. So we're going to continue the discussion of staying safe in the digital age now with Robert Capps. He's the VP of Business Development at NuData Security, a MasterCard company. Welcome to the show, Robert.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Sure thing. Now, as I mentioned, it is Fraud Prevention Month, and I understand that NuData Security, which is a MasterCard company, has released a report on the biggest risks out there today. What are some of the key findings from that report?
Yeah, so what's really interesting is that we've seen high-risk traffic going way up year over year. At this point, about 1 in 3 transactions online is an attempt at fraud against a retailer or a financial institution or some other large organization.
All right, so that's specifically tied to shopping fraud, right? I mean, we are increasingly shopping online. We love our online shopping and all the benefits that come with it, but there's a lot of fraudulent activity.
Yeah, there really is. So a lot of this high-risk traffic that we're seeing is related to account takeover fraud. And so I'm sure your listeners have heard of data breaches in the news recently. We still see a lot of data breaches on a daily basis. Some make the news, some don't. But regardless, the data is getting into the hands of fraudsters who are using it to try and compromise legitimate consumer accounts. In most industries, we're seeing that better than 95% of the attack traffic against those organizations, like your bank or your retailer, are account takeover fraud, attempts to use username and passwords that were stolen in a different breach to access your legitimate account.
Now, you're talking on behalf of the businesses, but for those listening who like to shop online, is this a similar concern where you think you're putting in your credit card information at a store that you're used to shopping at, but in fact it's a mock version of, like, Amazon or something?
Yeah, those risks do exist. Usually they're called phishing attacks or other sort of spoofing attacks trying to gather consumer credentials or payment information with a lookalike site. But with account takeover attacks, what happens is a fraudster is trying to get access to an existing account that belongs to a real consumer. And the best thing a consumer can do to protect their own account is not reuse their passwords. The reason these attacks happen, the reason they exist, is because some consumers will use the exact same username and password across many different websites. And if that data is compromised on one, it's possible the fraudster could get access to all of the accounts that the consumer has with the same username and password.
Right. I know we're supposed to use different passwords for everything for obvious reasons, but not everybody does because it's not convenient. Yeah. Do you recommend those password management apps?
Yeah, I think that anything that allows a consumer to have a strong password, a unique password for each website they interact with is useful. I've seen everything from password journals, a physical book that people write their passwords in and keep in a safe place, all the way through online services that will store your passwords encrypted until you're ready to use them. They all have their pluses and minuses, but they all help consumers keep their usernames and passwords straight.
What are your thoughts, Robert, on two-factor authentication? That's where you're asked to not only provide your password to log into an online account, but also a one-time code sent to your mobile phone. So combine something you know, which is your password, with something you have, your smartphone.
Yeah, or something you are. So we talk about passive and active biometrics. So physical biometrics, or those that are measured as you interact with technology, the passive biometrics, very strong second and third factors in providing consumer identity verification. Our company layers those technologies along with behavioral analytics, understanding how consumers interact with websites, how they interact with their technology, and what's unique about them to protect their account access. When you layer those technologies together, you can really create a great user experience where they don't have to fumble for extra devices or look for the text message with the 5 or 6 or 7 digit PIN. They can just interact in natural ways and still be highly authenticated.
Right. It's super convenient to use a part of your body to validate you, again, called biometrics security. It could be a fingerprint. It could be a retina or iris scan. It could be a voice print. I know MasterCard, in fact, has deployed something called Selfie Pay, which, again, is using a part of your body to further validate you. Was this something NuData Security was part of, or was that another sort of division at MasterCard?
That was a different division of MasterCard, a different part of the business organization. That went along with the identity check mobile product that's in the market today. We were acquired into the organization to bring a passive solution to consumer verification. So those are active measures that a consumer has to take a selfie or to put a fingerprint into the phone or things. And those are great authenticators in the proper context. We also can provide solutions that don't require the consumers to do anything at all. They interact with the same username and password fields they normally do, and we can still authenticate them to a very high degree of accuracy without having to step them through those additional authenticators. Now, at some point, you may still want to step those consumers through those authenticators to resolve issues where they may not be fully authenticated. But, you reserve those technologies for the places where they matter the most, where they have the highest impact.
We'll continue chatting with Robert Capps from NuData Security, a MasterCard company, when we return. Stay with us.
Follow Mark Saltzman on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Listen to Check It Out whenever you want.
We're chatting with Robert Capps, VP of Business Development at NuData Security, a MasterCard company. Could you elaborate, Robert, on the passive approach or strategy?
Sure, absolutely. So passive verification goes along the way of observing human interactional characteristics. So if you think about how you hold your phone, if you're right-handed or left-handed, it's going to exist in different three-dimensional space. As you type on a device, you're going to have a very specific cadence to your typing, the dwell time between keystrokes, how long you hold down keys. Those are all things that are very unique to you as a human, and specifically to you as a human using your own credentials. And so they're not things that can be replicated or replayed. They're not things that can be used, can be stolen and then be reused by a fraudster. And so they make great ways of authenticating consumers in a very privacy and security-centric way, without having to have them provide fingerprints or any other sort of things to do authentication for lower risk interactions.
Wow, very cool. Is that AI, artificial intelligence? I know that some financial institutions have the ability to, when there's an online payment made, detect something that might be a bit unusual. Maybe it's, if you make a large purchase, for example, and that's a bit out of character, then it may flag it as something suspicious and you may be contacted to confirm it's really you. Or if you're based in New York, for example, but a purchase was detected in Vancouver, they may reach out. So that's some, I guess, AI on the back end. Is your technology using a similar approach?
Yeah, I mean, most modern fraud reduction tools today use some factor of AI, and it depends on what factors are applicable to the products in use. We use AI technologies to detect new and novel patterns that might be high risk for our customers. And that's along the lines of what you were talking about in regards to finding patterns that are not normal. But you have to think of AI as a tool in the toolbox. There are many different tools that you deploy in order to craft a risk remediation strategy for any individual market or product.
Right. Got it. Good point. All right, Robert, as we wrap up, where can we learn more about NuData Security, and where can we read that report that you cited earlier?
Yeah, it's on our website. You can reach it at NuDataSecurity.com. That's NuDataSecurity.com.
All right, Robert Capps, thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Hey, I mentioned earlier that I'm on social media, and if you'd like to follow me on your favorite platform, I do write a tech tip of the day, and I do so on Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. So I'm at Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, Saltzman with a Z. So MarkSaltzman. And you can follow me on any of these platforms. So here's a couple of examples of what I wrote last week as a tech tip of the day. If you have one of those trendy Amazon Alexa smart speakers and you use it beside your bed, maybe to listen to music or your radio, or you use it as an alarm clock, but you don't want to disturb your partner, did you know that you can teach your smart speaker to whisper back to you? That's right. So as long as you've got the Echo Dot, or it could even work with those screens like Echo Show, and you don't want to disturb someone beside you, all you have to do this once is open up the Alexa app on your phone that's connected to your account and go into the settings area, and it's called voice responses, enabled whispered responses. So now when you whisper to your device, it will whisper back to you. So if you want to ask what the weather is, you could get an answer back to you without disturbing your partner. How cool is that? Another tip I gave last week was for iPhone users. If you find yourself running out of space, storage on your iPhone, and you likely know that it does not allow you to put in a memory card or anything, here's what you can do. You can easily free up storage with what's called the offload unused apps option. So it's simply called offload unused apps. And as the name suggests, it deletes unused apps. So it looks at your history, and if you don't use apps very much, it'll delete them from your phone, but it keeps the data and documents connected to those apps. So when you reinstall them in the future, if you do, and chances are you won't, but if you reinstall it in the future, it will remember where you were. So a game, for example, or anything like that. Neat, huh? So you have to go to settings on your iPhone, then go to the iTunes and App Stores area, and then it's called, again, offload unused apps. Just enable it, that little green toggle, and that way you'll be fine. So if you like those kind of little hacks, those little easy to use things, last week I also wrote about Netflix's secret menu, how to access that on a computer. So these little shortcuts by pressing keyboard buttons will help you enjoy your movies and TV shows more. If you like that kind of thing, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or LinkedIn. I'm at Mark Saltzman, Mark with a C, Saltzman. Thank you for tuning in to Tech It Out, everyone. Hope you enjoyed the program. Feel free to share the podcast version with a friend or relative or colleague, and you can leave me a rating if you like on iTunes or Google Podcasts or Blogspot or iHeartRadio, however you like to listen to your podcast. It's greatly appreciated. This program, Tech It Out, is is powered by ASUS for those in search of incredible. Visit asus.com/US/radio for more info. Have a great week ahead, everyone. Stay healthy out there, and I look forward to chatting with you next weekend on Tech It Out. Bye-bye for now.